Hey, what's up, you guys? It's Caboose bringing you another Mortal Kombat. Something doesn't feel right. Okay, that's better. Hey, what's up, you guys? It's Caboose bringing you another Mortal Kombat movie video. And today what I got for you guys here is my official non-spoiler review of the Mortal Kombat movie. A huge thanks to WB Pictures, Warner Brothers Pictures, for allowing me the opportunity to see this film early so that I can provide for you guys my review of the film. I'm going to give you guys my non-spoiler thoughts in just a moment. Before we do so, though, I wanted to ask you guys, of course, if at any point you enjoy the video, if you could consider leaving a like rating on it. It would show your support, and I would really appreciate it. So if you enjoy the video at any point, or if you're hyped for the Mortal Kombat movie, which releases officially tomorrow, well, then leaving a like rating would be awesome. And also, if you're new here and you've been liking some of the content going up on my channel, whether it's these Mortal Kombat movie videos, whether it's Injustice, whether it's videos about Gotham Knights, Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, Marvel's Avengers, whatever it may be, I got a ton of content up on this channel. And if you've been liking it, then please, if you'd like to, consider hitting that subscribe button and hit the notification bell as well, so then you're immediately notified when a video goes live. And with all that being said, let's jump in. Let's talk about the Mortal Kombat movie. I think the best way to structure this is in 4 categories that I have for this film. Number 1 is the characters. Number 2 is the story. Number 3 is the action. And number 4 is fan service. I have pros and cons in just about every single category, and then I'll give you guys my final rating out of 10. First thing, we got the characters. And I think this aspect of the film is something that if you're a Mortal Kombat fan, you will, for the most part, really enjoy. Actors like Ludi Lin or Max Huang as Liu Kang and Kung Lao respectively do such a fantastic job as their characters and present those characters exactly how they should be from the games into live action. I think they bounce off each other really well. You can see the camaraderie. You can feel that like brotherly love between them. I love that stuff. That aspect, those two are so great in this movie. And I'm begging that we please get a Shaolin Monks TV show on HBO Max right now. High budget, give me their origin story. Oh, I would love to watch that. Then you got these two guys to my left and my right. Joe Taslim as Sub-Zero is menacing. He is so good. The first 7 minutes of the movie just went up online recently, and if you watched it, you already got a glimpse of how good he is. And what's amazing about his performance is that through a majority of the film, it's no secret. He's in the Sub-Zero getup. He's in the costume, so he's got a mask, and he's pretty much fully covered up. So most of the performance from Joe Taslim comes from his eyes, his facial expressions, and his voice. And even through that, even through such a minimal amount that he can give in his performance, he still does an incredible job, feeling so menacing, having such a screen presence, and being a character to be feared every time he shows up. Then Hiroyuki Sanada. I mean, come on. What is there to be said that can't already be said about this actor? Every single film he's in, he has such screen presence, and Mortal Kombat, the movie, there's no shortage of that. Scorpion, I think, in my opinion, is a little underutilized, but when Scorpion's there, oh, hell yeah. You feel how much of a badass the character is. And that's largely in part due to this guy, Hiroyuki Sanada, and his performance as that character. That was the first thing when they announced the cast for this movie that got me excited. When I heard that he was going to be playing Scorpion, that was the first thing that got me excited for the movie, and it did not disappoint. Other actors like Tadanobu Asano as Raiden is also, I think, a little underutilized, but when Raiden is there, I think they do a good job with that character. Shin Han as Shang Tsung is not as menacing, even though he's supposed to be kind of the main villain, you know, the person above Sub-Zero, but I still found Sub-Zero to be the more intimidating one. Regardless, though, I think he does an okay job as the character. I'd like to see more, and to be honest, top to bottom, I'd like to see more from all of these actors as these characters. You know, as well, you got Makad Brooks as Jax or Jessica McNamee as Sonya. They bounce off each other real well. They're both presented real well, especially Jessica McNamee as Sonya is great. But one of the best characters in the movie, purely from a comedic standpoint, and as well from the way they kind of take this character from the games and put him in live action, is Josh Lawson. He is incredible. This dude is Kano.
Kano wins. You fucking beauty.
The freaking Black Dragon, he is so good at this movie. He is so funny in this movie, which I found to be incredibly surprising, is how much of an element of comedy there is in the Mortal Kombat movie. a lot of which comes from Josh Lawson as Kano, who he nails it. All that character needed was the fully accurate to the game's cybernetic eye to be perfect in terms of representation from the video game into live action. Josh Lawson nails it as Kano. I'm telling you, if you're a fan of Kano, or if you're just a fan of Mortal Kombat, this will absolutely be the one character, if you hated everything else, that you can't complain about. Give me more Josh Lawson as Kano, please and thank you. Now, in terms of some negatives, well, let me just say, if you're a fan of Mileena or Raiko, oh boy, I don't think you're gonna be too happy with how those characters are presented in this movie. Now, Raiko, I think that there is enough there where they can kind of get away with him being a bit of a jobber, all right? Mileena, though, is a pretty big character in Mortal Kombat, let's be honest. And I think she was so extremely underutilized in this film. All of the characters in this movie, whether it's Jax, Sonya, Raiden, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, whoever it may be, if you were to rip them out of the story changes drastically in its trajectory from how you get from point A to point B. If you ripped Mileena out of the story, nothing really changes. Same goes for someone like Raiko, which is unfortunate because I know Mileena fans they're gonna have a field day on this movie. Then there is the main character, the protagonist. I think the biggest worry I had about this film, Cole Young, as played by Lewis Tan. I'll say this much as a positive for Cole Young. Lewis Tan, as an actor, does a great job in the role. He gives a good performance. You can tell he's doing the stunts. He's kicking ass. He's got some great action beats. And I love the way that Lewis Tan is super passionate about this game, about this franchise, and especially about his role in this movie. I love that. You can genuinely tell that he wants to make an impact with the Mortal Kombat film, and I'm a huge fan of that, to be honest. But my biggest worry about Cole Young as a character was that it's a brand new character that's the central protagonist of the film. And what they do with that character is just a little dull, in my opinion. Because you think about it, Liu Kang is this Shaolin monk alongside Kung Lao. He can control fire, Kung Lao's teleporting, he's got the hat, Sub-Zero's a Cryomancer, Scorpion's this demon from hell, Raiden controls electricity, he's a thunder god, and then Cole Young is an MMA fighter. Like, come on, you know? And I get that in Mortal Kombat lore, you have someone like Johnny Cage who kind of has that similar aspect to him where everyone around him has these fantastical abilities and he's just an actor who inevitably gets some cool abilities too, but for the most part is just an actor. But the thing about Johnny Cage is there's that charisma, there's that level of comedy that you can kind of get out of the character, and I don't think Cole Young has that. He's just this lost guy who's not sure what's going on and is pretty much acting as an anchor point for people who don't know anything about Mortal Kombat, which is fair. You kind of need that in a film like this because there are going to be people who are extremely confused about what's going on. But even in that, there isn't enough explanation. The exposition isn't good enough that I think the character is serviceable. I would rather people just be confused and let someone like Liu Kang be the main character than for Cole Young to just run around being confused himself in this movie and then, I don't know, just like do some random stuff that to me didn't make too much sense. I don't want to harp too much on it because again, I'm a big fan of Lewis Tan. I think he does a great job with his performance of the film. It's just the character and the writing and what they do with Cole Young, for me, doesn't work, just in my personal opinion. Which now kind of brings me to the story. So to give you the gist of it, the concept of this movie is that there is the tournament, which is fine. That comes from the games. That's great. Outworld has won 9 tournaments straight. If they win one more, they get to rule Earthrealm. So of course, Raiden is trying to gather his champions to face off against the evils of Outworld. And it turns out some of the liberties that they take here is that people who are the chosen champions have a dragon marking on them, Cole Young being one of those people, and that helps them get their special abilities to then fight against those evils of Outworld. And some of that is fine. It's just that a lot of it is kind of explained away, which again, I was talking about earlier in that Cole Young's supposed to be kind of this character that acts as an anchor point. He's supposed to be the character that also doesn't know what's going on, so that when people explain it to him, they're essentially explaining it to the audience. They just don't do that well enough, I think, which is fine because someone like me, I can follow along real easily. I know the world of Mortal Kombat. I know what's happening. I'm already a huge fan. So when they give me a little hint of something, I've already filled in the blanks. But some people who are general moviegoers who are going to watch this movie unaware of the world are going to be like, huh? You know, so I think there just isn't enough exposition, which is a weird thing to kind of complain about with the movie. I know that it's Mortal Kombat. I know that you're just trying to get to the fights, and we'll talk about the action in a second. But in terms of the story, there's too much that you have to give the film the benefit of the doubt with. There's too much that's just kind of explained away that doesn't work for me. As someone who's a film fan, you need a little bit more of that exposition, or you need a little bit more of it to at least be natural and not something that feels forced for someone who's just a general moviegoer to be able to accept. I will say, though, that the plot being very bare bones, the plot being kind of silly and explained away, does add to this next aspect of the film that I will talk about, being the action. Because, yes, we're just going to have to call it like it is. Call a spade a spade. Not a lot of people are going to the Mortal Kombat movie to cry because of some crazy emotional moment. They want to see Scorpion and Sub-Zero beat the shit out of each other. And this is the best part of the movie. The fights, the action, the choreography, the set pieces, the visual effects. It's all genuinely 10 out of 10 good. I don't think it's better than something like the Raid films, which Joe Taslim comes from. I don't think it's better than even something like John Wick, but there is some real well-shot, well-choreographed action in this movie that if you're going to watch this movie for just that reason, you will not walk away from it disappointed. For me, I was most excited about the fight between Sub-Zero and Scorpion. We've seen it teased in the trailers and stuff. I don't want to say much, but it doesn't disappoint. And there's a moment during that fight that I had goosebumps on my entire body, and it was crazy exciting to watch. And you know what's also amazing? Just like I was mentioning with the fact that the way that it's shot, it's all in frame, not a lot of shaky cam. You can tell what's going on. You can tell who's who. But beyond that, there isn't a lot of green screen. Plenty of the fights are shot on location, on set. There isn't too much visual effects. You can see the backgrounds and see that they are real. You can see the areas that they're in, that they're fighting in, and notice that it's real. I think that's amazing. I know I've had my pros and cons with pretty much every category we've gone over so far, but in terms of the action, this is the one thing for me, I have no complaints. Even Goro, from a visual effects standpoint, the CGI is good. He looks cool. And now my last point, fan service. Do they do the fan service enough justice? I think some places they do. And then, which brings me to the last category that I have about this film, which is fan service. And I think this is something that is really only specific to people like myself or any other hardcore Mortal Kombat fans. This is something that isn't really going to be a complaint or even a positive for anybody who's watching the film that doesn't really know the world of Mortal Kombat or is just a casual MK fan. But for myself, I wanted to know how much fan service was in this film, how many Easter eggs there are, how many references to maybe other characters that aren't introduced in this movie there are, and I'm pretty happy to say that there's quite a bit of that. If you're a fan of Mortal Kombat, if you know the lore, if you know the world, you're going to be pausing the film at many moments, if you're watching it from home, to notice some of the Easter eggs or to analyze some of the shots and see what's going on in the background. There is, though, some liberties taken here on the story of Mortal Kombat, and as well in terms of the way these characters have these special abilities. Some things I think work, some things I am able to give the film the benefit of the doubt, especially when it comes to characters like Liu Kang and Kung Lao. But there are other things I don't want to spoil that are really random, that are completely out of place and feel a little forced. And so in that aspect, especially when it comes to fan service and them taking those liberties and doing things that the games have never done, it was a little bit weird for me. I don't think it ripped me out of the movie, but it was a little weird for me. I know that's super vague and doesn't give you much, but I'm trying my best not to spoil the film. And I will say, for speaking overall, I liked the Mortal Kombat movie. I didn't love it. It wasn't the best movie ever, But if we're talking about video game movies, I think I can say with confidence that this is the best video game to film adaptation that we have ever gotten. I love the campiness and the cheesiness that we got from the original Mortal Kombat film, but this is a modernized, updated Mortal Kombat movie that I'm sure plenty of people are going to be happy with when they walk out of the theater, if you get to see it in theaters, or when the film finishes if you're watching it at home. If I'm going to rate the movie out of 10, I think I'm going to go with a 7.5 out of 10. There are some things that I liked, some things that I didn't like, and I'm hoping that we get more. I do want more from these characters, from these actors as these characters, and from this world that has now been built out of this movie. I want to see HBO Max champion this movie. I want to see WB do the same, and I want to see some Mortal Kombat sequels, please. There is so much potential here. So fingers crossed that we get some more Mortal Kombat movies, or maybe even some HBO Max shows with some of these characters. I think that would be amazing. But now I want to kick it to you guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I know the movie has released in some territories, and some people have already gotten the chance to see it. Or if you're watching this video after April 23rd, let me know what your thoughts are, non-spoilery if you possibly could, in the comment section below. Sound off. What did you like about the Mortal Kombat movie? What did you not like? I want to hear what you guys have to say, and leave your rating out of 10 as well. I hope you guys enjoyed my review. If you did, if you could consider leaving a like rating on the video, it would show your support, and I would really appreciate it. I'm Caboose, and you can click on screen to make your way to one of the other videos on the channel, or you can click my logo to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. You can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Those links are in the description. Drop a like if you enjoyed, leave a comment if you have an opinion, and subscribe if you're new. See you guys later.